Well, welcome back everybody to the Formula Fun podcast then. And this is, of course, the review after the Spanish Grand Prix. As per usual, I am joined by Mr. Rage himself. How are you doing this week, my friend?
Absolutely fabulous.
Brilliant. That seems to be your answer every week.
Well, it's a bit of a meme now.
Is it?
A little bit of a meme.
Is that really what constitutes a meme? Fuck's sake.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Wonderful. So, I mean, it was a bit more of a normal race this week, wasn't it? Obviously, we had a bit of a chaotic start, which I'm sure we'll get on to. But in general, it was a bit more of a normal Formula One race. But Spain tends to throw those up, to be fair. It's a very aero-dependent track. And probably the first real test of what kind of chassis the cars have got under them of the season. So I think we learned a lot more this race than the others, even if it wasn't as exciting.
I guess. Everyone was just like, it's boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you had joined Formula One, you know, in Bahrain, and then watched China and Azerbaijan, yes, it would be incredibly boring. But we are veterans of the F1 world, and we know that this is a normal F1 race, and I'm sure like me, you got quite a lot of enjoyment out of it nevertheless.
It was alright.
Okay. Maybe not quite as much as me. I can watch the most boring race in the world and still find quite a lot of it interesting. But yeah. Right, well, let's start as we do then, just barely skipping over practice.
Some people went round in circles, some quicker than others.
You got it. Lance Stroll went off. Brendan Hartley spectacularly went off in practice 3. And I know you're on Peasant View this weekend, but did you see the crash?
I did.
You see the gearbox falling out when they lifted the car up?
I did. The whole garage at one point simultaneously was all they could hear was "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
Like, Dave, shit, stop playing that, mate. You do this all the time.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
he's literally just singing it. He hasn't even got a recording of it. Just go around whispering it to people.
It did cut to the mechanics at one point, and they just looked horrified.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is not a worse time of the weekend as a Formula One driver. You can stick a car in a wall like that, and then with the gearbox falling off as well. What was staggering is they decided to rebuild that car rather than start from a new chassis.
I know, they rebuilt it.
Yeah, they obviously missed out on qualifying, but they
Yes.
rebuilt everything for Sunday with the same chassis, which seemed remarkable.
How they did that, I have no idea. Obviously got very good design. No idea.
Yeah, well, I think the chassis doesn't... It's sort of under the engine is where it stops and then goes to obviously the monocoque at the front. So I guess it didn't really take any impact. The tub, as they call it, but somehow they got away with it.
Well, something took a bit of an impact, didn't it? The gearbox absolutely shat itself.
Yes, but if there's one team that will be expecting gearbox and engine penalties this year, it is for Toro Rosso. So I don't think they'll be too worried because it was going to happen anyway. Just means it's going to happen quicker, really. So practice, I mean, was I think... don't quote me on this, but I've got a feeling it was the first full set of practice sessions since Australia that Mercedes topped every one. And it was a bit of an ominous sign for the weekend, really.
I think that sounds about right, because Mercedes complained that Ferrari was sandbagging.
Yes. Well, if they were sandbagging, Mercedes were bloody rock bagging. That's a thing. It's a thing. Tell me it's a thing.
It's not a thing.
Shit.
Wait 1 second, news just in. It's not a thing.
Shit.
Crap.
Okay. Well, can we make it a thing?
News just in. No.
Yeah. No. No.
It's not a thing.
Not yet. We can't have random buttons already. So yeah, that's our new streamlined practice section of this podcast.
Quick, easy. Some went round, some crashed, some didn't. Some went fast, some sandbagged, some didn't rock bag because it's not a real thing. On to qualifying.
Perfect. There was a little bit of teabagging as well, but we all looked away when he started doing that. I'll let you decide who it was.
I don't know. Who teabagged?
No idea.
Oh.
It's not a real thing.
K-Mags. He loves some bags.
Probably.
He loves some handbags.
Yeah, and I think we all know what he was saying.
Man bags.
No.
Suck my balls?
That's the one.
No.
Great. Right, moving on to qualifying then. Obviously, it made it a little bit easier for some of the midfield teams with the Toro Rosso already being out.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the two Williams struggling greatly in qualifying, both of them out in Q1. Along with Marcus Ericsson and the surprise of Nico Hülkenberg, who had, I think it was a fuel pressure issue, is what I heard. It sounded like he had some rock bags in his gearbox. I'm going to make that phrase stick somewhere.
Rock bags?
Yeah. Yeah, or just a handful of gravel is the most common one. But apparently it was a fuel pressure issue. But there you go.
Who was that on?
Hülkenberg.
Oh, yeah, I heard he had all sorts of issues, didn't he?
It sounded
I
awful.
never saw that particular incident because I was on Peasant View, but still, I heard about it.
Okay. What kind of coverage do they do that probably the most exciting thing from Q1 they didn't show?
All the best kind of coverage. Did he jump in and manage to come out and get a time in?
Yes, but still not quick enough.
Yeah.
But when he pulled in from his first lap, a horrible noise. Like a cat scratching around in the engine cover. But yeah, unfortunately, he didn't make it through them. And it was the first time that Nico Hülkenberg hadn't got through to Q2. It's a big number. I can't remember the number, but it's an awful lot. It's like 54 races or something.
Since sometime in 2015, I want to say.
Maybe that would just about tie in. I think it was 54 races I heard during the coverage, but pretty stunning and a pretty disappointing weekend for him. Which we'll get on to in the race, but qualifying is pretty bad as well. Then Sergio Perez was the first man out in Q2. Charles Leclerc once again doing the impossible with that Sauber. And actually looking at the times, went a little bit slower in Q2. His time in Q1 was incredibly impressive, 1:18.6. Then Ocon and Gasly, Force India once again struggling, but looking a little improved here. Gasly back on form for Toro Rosso. And then the big talk of the weekend was about McLaren's updates and how it would affect them on a Saturday. Stoffel Van Dorn, P11, a lot further up than he's been all season, so definitely suggests they're back on a good track with that car. And then to Q3, Romain Grosjean just about sneaking into the top 10. He'll later have found out why did he bother. Carlos Sainz P9 and Alonso P8. Good showing from the two Spaniards, and they were clashing with each other all weekend, really, weren't they? And
Double Spaniards.
Double Spaniards.
Spaniards up in your spanner box.
Great. And just 5, 6, 7 hundredths between the pair of them in Q3. Pretty close indeed. K-Mag, best of the rest, showing that Haas is really a great chassis. It really is. 2 Red Bulls, I think they got a bit closer this weekend, but it's difficult.
Look at the Q3 time.
Yeah.
16.8, 16.8.
2 thousandths between them.
2 thousandths. That is a gnat's penis.
And Nat's penis would be proud of having that kind of gap. But incredibly close between them, and I think we were all looking towards the third row at the start to see if any trouble would happen again. Kimi Räikkönen, not quite as impressive as he's been the rest of the season. In qualifying at least. Quite a way off his teammate. Vettel got as close as he dared to the Mercedes, but Ferrari looked to have the pace all weekend. Apart, you look at practice, maybe not, but all the way through qualifying, and then Mercedes just disappeared. I mean, those opening laps that were like 7 or 8 tenths quicker than they'd been before was stunning. And I'm so surprised Vettel even got that close, to be honest. And it meant that Bottas lined up on the front row with Lewis Hamilton getting pole once again. His first pole since Australia, I think.
It is. Back on form.
Yeah. And what were your views in general about qualifying? Any standout performances there for you?
K-Mags. That's about it. K-Mags drove the shit out of that car.
Yeah, I think so.
I know it was only 2 tenths off his teammate, but 2 tenths in quality is a big gap. So yeah, no, K-Mags is a standout as much as I hate to say it, and as much as he loves to tuck his balls. He was a standout for me. How about you?
I'd probably have to agree. I think Leclerc was super special once again. Massive margin over his teammate. And I think Bottas put in a great lap there. He's very unlucky to not beat Hamilton. I think he's bang on form this season, Valtteri Bottas. He's been so unlucky so far. He could very easily be winning this championship at the moment. And yeah, I think his lap was great as well to get as close as he did to Lewis, especially how perfect Lewis's lap was. So I'd say Bottas and Magnussen for me, standouts. And we shall move on to the race then. And once again, it was a first lap of complete carnage then.
The first lap?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why I
crazy.
said the first lap. The first lap? Yes, the first lap. Oh, the first lap.
The first lap.
Did you mean the first lap?
Are we the bad guys?
Hands, are we the baddies? Yeah, so Vettel got himself past Bottas into turn 1.
He did.
A much needed move from him. To at least try to give the Mercedes a bit of a race. Then we had a little bit of contact between the two Spaniards into turn 1. Just on the exit 1 into 2. They nearly ran each other off the road, which I don't think they would have been very popular in Spain if they'd done that. And then the big talking point, Romain Grosjean. So it looked like...
Keep your foot in Grosjean.
It looked like, to give him a little bit of a defence, that K-Mag was getting out of shape in front of him, and it caused him to just sort of, I don't know, just
a bit of lift off, just
a bit of lift, yeah, bit of a squirm. Round he went, no grip out there, which Alonso found later on in the corner. So they were all struggling for it, but it's what he did after he span that everybody's talking about, and what has given him a free place penalty for Monaco. So, do you want to do a bit of talking? Do you want to explain what happened, what your thoughts are on it, and why you think he was a fucking idiot for it?
He was following his teammate, obviously. He was on the dirty side of the track, so on the outside of that corner. It's not a very good place to be. He said his teammate slowed, so he came off the power. So then again, he got the lift off oversteer when he came off the power, because there was barely any grip there. He's probably in dirty air as well. The back came out, which he corrected very quickly. And he as soon as he got the car, if you watch the replay, hopefully we might put a replay in the description, but if you watch the replay, he caught the car.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So he caught the car. And then after he caught the car, he put his foot in it. So he then pushed the accelerator, which then dropped the car again. And he didn't let off or feather or whatever. He kept his foot in the whole time he span round. Didn't pull the clutch in on his steering wheel. Kept his foot straight in, and he smoke screened the whole grid, as you all saw. Puts everyone in a ridiculously dangerous situation. I think it was Sorokin who actually went through most of the cloud and luckily got past the front of the car, but he was just completely blind. At least the other guys who actually did hit the car, they saw it coming, But Sorokin went into a cloud of nothing, so he had no idea. Again, I saw that on a little bit of a replay, but Hulk was a passenger. Gasly was just a passenger. Nothing they could have done. And I think someone else went off, but was okay. I didn't see. So I think someone else went off with him, but didn't hit. It may have been Force India. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was just stupid. Why would you just not pull in? Why would you? The first thing, he was too eager to get on the power. That's his mistake. Before the whole thing happened with the turn, it was the mistake after he caught it. Because he caught that, and he could have pushed himself wide and let part of the pack go, or catch up with the pack and then join on the straight. There was no need for that. It was too eager. And he does that a lot, old Grosjean. He's a bit of a rut. I think he needs to take some time, hit the reset button, and try again next week.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of question marks about his potential future after that. He's not a young boy anymore. No. He's one of the elder statesmen in Formula One. It's something that marred his early career, these kind of mistakes and immature moments. And he just can't be doing it anymore, especially with Haas with such an improved car this year, and they're expectant of points, and how well Magnussen's doing compared to Grosjean's point tally is laughable.
Yeah.
But I agree with you and disagree with you in little bits. I completely agree the spinning around on smoke screen is stupid, deserves a penalty. I don't know what he was doing. He had lost the car already. It wasn't... He got out wide, the car had rotated, and he'd lost it before he started spinning up. It was when he went back round after it that's when he lit it up. He could have... You're right, he could have parked it sort of backwards off the track and then just spun it round and carried on. It was... He'd already lost the car, and then he decided to spin it round on track.
Ridiculously dangerous.
So dangerous. And that could have been so much worse for a lot of people. I think we were very lucky to only see Hulkenberg and Gasly affected by it.
But someone, let's not make any doubts about it, someone could have died.
Potentially, yeah. I think I'm gonna say it, with the halo, I think they would have been fine. But before it, yes.
A stray sway bar to the face, mate.
Potentially. But yeah,
so,
it was incredibly
the thing that I was on about, if I've got a video, and I think you should link it. But anyway, I don't know if there's any legal ramifications with you and getting it thingy if you link F1 related.
No, it's more me bothering to put stuff in the description, mate.
Okay. Well, if you are gonna link,
I don't edit the videos at all anymore, but I can easily put it in the description, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, this one on the description, if you skip to 23 seconds.
Right. I mean, my only thing with this in the past is there's no benefit to this to the people listening to the podcast.
They have got time now to put up this video and skip to 23 seconds as well. If they don't want to, then fine.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, but he's lost the car already. There's no getting back from that.
Did you watch it?
What, when he spins up the tyres?
Okay. So there's a point at 27 seconds where the car comes back to him. If you go back to about 25, 26 seconds, the car comes back to him. And then he puts his foot in it again. So he loses the car, it comes back to him, and then he loses it again.
Yeah, but that's not from him spinning up the tyres. That's from him having absolutely no grip.
Well, my opinion at least. If you watch that, he catches the car and then loses it because he spins up the tyres.
No, it's because his rear wheels are on painted green tarmac and he's got absolutely no grip. When the car tries to re-engage the grip, it just loses it again because there's no rear grip. He doesn't plant the accelerator till he spins it onto the track.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
otherwise, he would have moved forward. He didn't move forward.
He did. At that point, if you watch the replay and carry on going, you can see it. Even if you go back to about 10 seconds, you can see as soon as he loses the car, as soon as he reapplies his accelerator, that's when the back comes round. So he put his foot down at a stupid point. Well, it doesn't matter. The fact is, he crashed and he's an idiot. And what he did is not acceptable.
Yeah, it's the spinning round that's the problem.
Yeah.
Losing the car like that, I've seen so many people do that over the years at Spain. There's no harm in that happening, especially with the way the tyres were this weekend. I don't think it's what happened afterwards is the problem. Him losing the car, anybody could have done that. Alonso was millimetres from doing so. But yeah.
Did you hear the voice comms from Gasly afterwards?
Probably. I can't remember off the top of my head.
He sounded so shaken up, it was unbelievable.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I know.
A massive crash and massive plume of smoke. And no one would have been expecting it because Grosjean, they would have seen it out, his spin out of the edge of their eye and seen him gone. Just to find him spinning backwards onto the track with his rear tyres lit up. It's very terrifying.
Anyway, let's move on from Grosjean's crash.
Yep. Do you think he'll be at Haas beyond this year?
I think they have a good relationship with Grosjean. I don't think he'll lose his drive because of one incident. However, it is the second incident this year, a big incident. And he hasn't scored many points of recent. I think
he hasn't scored any points.
That's his points. 0 points. Fuck, I didn't realise he hadn't got any points.
No, this is what I'm saying. He's more at threat because he's not doing anything. The mistake just adds to it, but he's been pretty awful all season in terms of getting the results.
No one's invincible in F1.
I don't think he has ever been.
Anyway, let's move on.
Apart from maybe 1 year, maybe 2012, where he was pretty special in that Lotus.
I think that Lotus was just pretty special.
Yeah, but you still got to do it, haven't you?
I guess.
Podiums he got. Right. One more note. I've actually made notes this week.
Ooh.
Which is good because we always go, oh, what the fuck happened? And we sound like complete idiots. I did it like the first 2 podcasts and I've just given up since. So I made a note. Good starts from Leclerc and Stroll as well. I think Stroll was up from the back of the grid to like 12th and Leclerc was into the top 10. I think he was about 9th or 8th at the end of the first lap. So great starts from that pair. And then we had, of course, a safety car, which was to be expected.
Straight away. Yeah.
Quite a bit to clear up. And on the restart, we had a move from Alonso on Ocon, which was pretty good to see. Everybody struggling like hell with tyre temperature. And I would hope we'd never have to say it again, but tyres weren't great this weekend. They've changed.
The thing is, I was just about to. I was actually saving that for a bit of fucking car news, bastard.
Well, I mean, it's been the story of the weekend, so it's not exactly breaking newsworthy.
Well, when has my breaking news ever been very good?
It's got to be at least momentarily breaking.
Well, it's not breaking. No breaking news. Okay. I was going to have a little chat about this, but I'm glad you brought it up because certain people were getting very irate about the certain changes to the wheels and how it benefited Mercedes.
Yes, it goes to a low gauge tyre, which is much more in line with what they've used in the past and what Mercedes have always had that big performance benefit of. And it just seemed to get rid of all their struggles in every department this weekend. It gave them the extra pace, it gave them the race pace, it meant that they could do strategies that nobody else on the grid could do, and their car just seemed perfectly suited to it. It's one of those things, when tyres are changed, it's going to benefit someone and not the other.
But the thing is that really, really frustrates me is how can you have a racing... well, I don't know the ins and outs of it. How can you have a racing series where you change the makeup of the tyre halfway through the season? Or not even that? Why? Why are they not the same every single race? Why do you have a different gauge, different grade? You know, surely a soft tyre at Monaco is the same as a soft tyre in Shanghai. Why? I know the road surface is slightly different, but that goes from track to track. How can they call that fair to change the tyre compound or anything to do with the tyres mid-season without all of the teams agreeing? Maybe you can shed some light on that, because I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so it's safety grounds. It's only happening for 2 rounds here, and Canada, I believe, is the other one.
Yeah.
And then the rest are going to be the same tyres again.
Okay.
They've been changed because when they were here in winter testing,
Yeah.
the degradation and the way that the tyres they've designed for this year were reacting was so dangerous. Red Bulls were actually coming back to the pits after some pretty short runs with the tyre actually physically bubbling. It was so bad. With this new track surface, the abrasion of the new tarmac, it would have been so dangerous to have the tyres that they are using for the rest of the year. So that's why they've been changed on safety. And that's the only time in Formula 1 you don't need unilateral agreement from the teams, is when it's safety based. So there is a reason for it, and it's not been changed anything to do with goddamn conspiracy theories like people think. It's purely, as I said, you change a tyre, it will benefit one team over the other. Just like the tyre they went for the most of this year has benefited Ferrari more than Mercedes. You know, they are the point of contact for the car, so they are so critically important that any slight changes... we talk about 3 or 4 degrees difference in temperature making so much difference in lap time between cars and tyres. That changing the makeup of the tyre just has these effects. So, you know, it's one of those things, really. And I'm kind of glad, because I think it kind of gets Mercedes back into this championship. Because I still believe Ferrari have the far superior car at the moment. And I think once we go back to the tyres, the normal tyres, we're going to see game on, and Mercedes are really going to have to try very hard indeed to keep up with Ferrari, is my opinion, anyway.
I wasn't sure on the whole dealio, if you could do that, if you couldn't. So, yeah, it's the only reason I asked. I was a bit like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, I think
really much of an explanation on peasant view.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you're right, it's very disconcerting for the fans, because they just hear, the casual fans just hear about the tyres being changed and suddenly benefiting Mercedes and think foul play, or think that, like you just said, without knowing the reasons why, which you've no reason to do as a casual fan. It just makes you think, why on earth have they done it, and why has it produced this kind of race that we've become so bored of watching for the last 5 years, which is the Mercedes romping away. But I think it's nowhere near as full blown as that. As I said, as far as I know, it's just 2 rounds. I think the other one's Canada, and the rest will be the normal tyres. So it should be okay, but it did give Mercedes a stunning race. But it made everybody really struggle with heat up, apart from Mercedes. Red Bull struggling again. K-Mag became a little bit of a bottleneck for the first few laps on the restart, and then disappeared. And then we're going to struggle a bit, I think, to talk about stuff. I've got lap 8. Lewis makes a new lap record, breaking Kimi's from 2008 with a full tank of fuel. It's pretty staggering.
How quick they've gone now.
Yeah, this year is a massive step forward. I think some of it might have been this new surface, but
yeah, probably.
But I mean, we were down to the one with 18s by the end.
Race pace, yeah, was pretty much. So wasn't it? Danny Rick got the fastest lap.
He did, yeah.
Do you know what he did?
What, his spin?
No, what the time was.
What, the 1:18.4 that I just said was a 1:18.4?
I wasn't sure if that was the race winning.
What, the fastest lap of the race, a 1:18.4? You didn't think that was the fastest lap of the race?
I wasn't sure if that was the fastest lap of the race. I saw something else. I thought it was like a 1:17 something, but I was obviously wrong.
No, Danny Rick was fastest, 1:18.4. He was 7 tenths quicker than anybody else, which was crazy. But we'll get to his struggles, I'm sure, a little bit later on. So early on, the 2 Red Bulls tucked in behind Kimi Räikkönen, And I think normally so good with their strategy, Red Bull really missed a few tricks in this race. And they were very lucky that Kimi retired, which he did on lap 25. But Ferrari forcing the strategy for a change, bringing Vettel in nice and early to try and see if he can get an undercut on the two Mercedes, and ended up coming out. Who did he come out behind?
Magnussen.
K-Mag, yeah, that's it. Just ahead of... oh no, it's Bottas that pitted even earlier and came out... was just getting past Kevin Magnussen as Vettel came out the pits. That was it.
Bottas got past him there, didn't he?
No, Vettel got past Bottas. What happened? No, Vettel...
This is the kind of information you expect.
Vettel... This is more like it.
Well done. Back to the old ways, boys.
So Bottas was trying to get the undercut on him, but because he was stuck behind Magnussen, didn't get past, and Vettel retained the lead, retained second place over him, came out ahead of Kevin Magnussen, and Bottas was still stuck up behind him. I think. No. Let's go again. I'll get it right this time, I promise. Vettel stopped first, okay, to get the undercut. He got stuck behind Kevin Magnussen. Bottas pitted a little bit later, and Vettel got past Kevin Magnussen into turn 1 just as Bottas came out, a car length or 2 behind him, and got stuck behind K-Mag. That's the truth.
Sure?
Yep. I got there eventually.
Alright.
And that was without notes, because my notes are completely wrong on that subject. Yeah, so Kimi Räikkönen, heartbreak, retirement, engine gone on lap 25. Yeah, a little bit worrying for him. I think, hasn't he already changed a gearbox or something, or an engine this season?
Who's that, sorry?
Kimi. He's very close, I think.
They did some crap to his car because he had an issue, and then it came back in the race. So
yeah, but I think he's changed an engine already, is what I meant.
Oh,
so I think
some stuff happened to Kimi, and it came back to bite him. What that stuff was, we're not quite sure on because we don't pay that much attention. Welcome to the Formula Fun podcast.
And now we get to the point where we're really struggling.
Jamie's run out of notes and I've got shit all idea.
My notes just sort of go off in a squiggly line off the page as I fell asleep. No, I just think Kimi's actually pretty close on engines from what I know.
Already? How many races are we in?
I think Ricardo might be as well. There's quite a few people that are we're hardly any, and they only get 3 engines this year. It's ridiculous.
There'll be some penalties.
So many penalties.
Yeah. I just hope it doesn't decide a fucking championship.
No, agreed. That's when it goes beyond the pale, really, isn't it?
Yeah. In
terms of taking the mick. So it became apparent to me that the Red Bulls might be stopping at this point, because they just continued to stay out along with Hamilton. There's a good little battle between Carlos Sainz and Marcus Ericsson on lap 29. Do you see that one?
No.
No, it was Ericsson defending for all his life against Sainz, who'd already stopped. And they were millimetres away, wheel on wheel. It was a brilliant defensive move from Ericsson.
Oh, no, I think I did actually. Was it going into turn 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I did see it.
Yeah, that was some good racing there. And that was backing Sainz back up into Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso, who, incredibly, Leclerc was still ahead of Alonso, having a cracking race. And I've got lap 33, Bottas confirming over the radio that he was going to be 2-stopping. So we presumed at that point that Vettel most likely was as well. And then I think Red Bull's major mistake. They pitted Verstappen when Hamilton was still trying to get past him. Now, if I was Red Bull, the only chance you've got, I feel, is trying to make Hamilton do a 2-stop. by having him stuck behind Verstappen and using his tyres up. Because Hamilton still pitted fairly early, lap 26, 27. And he was making no attempt to get past Max. Max was showing good pace. And they pulled him in about lap 30, if I got here, 35. I just think it was a bit silly, really. I think they could have gone for the win, potentially. But,
They just didn't have a... Do you think they maybe thought, let's maybe try a little bit more of an aggressive strategy? You know, people have been calling up our strategies have been too safe and we've been losing points because of it. Maybe let's try be the aggressor for once, and it didn't turn out very well.
What, Red Bull?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Ferrari. Formula Fun podcast, right in your face again.
What planet are you on? No, so Max Verstappen, okay.
Oh,
Are you sitting comfortably?
I am now. Hello, welcome to the Formula One podcast.
So the two Red Bulls stayed out longer.
Okay.
Hamilton then caught Verstappen and just stayed
they
behind
were waiting
him.
for a safety car, weren't they? They were waiting for something to happen. They could have been waiting for rain.
Yeah, but they should have continued staying out because Hamilton was doing his tyres in behind him.
They didn't like 3 or 4 laps later, a safety car come out, virtual.
I think a virtual might have. I don't think
For
so.
someone, a virtual came out. And I said, why didn't the Bulls wait? They could have had a free pit.
Oh, yeah, there is a virtual safety car, lap 41.
When did they pit?
35.
Ah, well, that peasant view, it was like a second. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it was that might have been why they were waiting, but they could have forced Mercedes into a two-stop with Hamilton as well. And then they're back on strategy and have track position. I just think that was the aggressive strategy for Red Bull to try. They're normally so good at trying it. And that's what I thought they were doing. And then they just pulled him in early. Whether they were getting warnings on the tyres because they'd been out for so long, I don't know. But I just feel... Or it was probably the right thing to do in terms of racing Vettel and Bottas. So, yeah. That's probably why he did it. But they did it. But I still think they should have given it a go at trying to stay out ahead of Hamilton. So, yeah, lap 41... virtual safety car for Ocon's engine going. A Mercedes blowing. Must be 2018. Ferrari stopped Vettel. Tries to do their old trick of stopping under the virtual safety car. And he actually comes out just behind Max because he was held in the pits. It was like a 5.5 second stop. And he came out like a second behind Max. So we know where that was lost. And Bottas stayed out. So it's going to looking like a pretty interesting end to the race until on the restart Max Verstappen hit Stroll up the ass. What did you think of that? Considering we've been talking so much about
I think
Verstappen's immaturity.
He just got caught with cold tyres. I think anyone would have been caught at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it was his fault.
But Stroll was a fecking idiot. Was it Stroll?
It was Stroll, yeah.
Like what was that about? Slowing so much like that?
Well, they were under the virtual safety car. He just didn't get the restart quick enough.
That was just ridiculous.
So Verstappen floored it because it had gone green, and Stroll didn't. And as you know, Formula 1 cars quite quick in a straight line. So he just mounted the rear, really. Was lucky to get away.
Silly.
Yeah, it was.
But he saved as much of it as he could.
Yeah, he did a great job and still held off Sebastian Vettel and was putting in some great times. And did pretty damn well. Alonso also getting past Leclerc finally on the restart. Ever the opportunist just completely caught Leclerc napping on the restart. It was classic Alonso.
That was great. That was great. I cheered a lot.
Just pounced. And then, yeah, Max just somehow held off Vettel to the finish. Ferrari's pace was nowhere in this race, or their tyre wear was nowhere. They were really, really disappointing.
They pitted under the VSC.
Yeah.
And still couldn't catch up with a wounded Red Bull.
Yeah.
With old tyres. Well, technically semi-old tyres. There was a bit of a tyre deficit because obviously they only pitted a few laps before, so the tyres are only about 5 laps old. But still, fresh tyres on a Ferrari should have caught up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think what we actually saw this weekend was the return of a heavy aero track and the design of these cars rearing its head again. It's just incredibly difficult to follow.
As in Melbourne issues.
Yeah. I mean, this is
Maybe.
the biggest aero track we've had by far, and has always been said as the acid test for who's got the best car all round in the Formula One season for finding out when we finally get here. And I think they really struggled to follow. I think Leclerc was quick, but I don't think he was anywhere near as quick as Alonso. And just look how long it took Alonso to get past him.
Yeah.
So I think it was a bit of a struggle. I think Vettel was actually unlucky because he was held in the pits, lost the time that would have got him back out ahead of Verstappen, and then he would have had a chance of beating Bottas at the end, I'm sure.
Again, I didn't see that. #peasant view.
You didn't see what Vettel pitting?
Vettel being held.
Oh, okay. Did you not see his pit stop time?
No, they didn't show it. They just showed he's pitted, but they didn't say about him losing time.
Wow, BBC really are cutting corners now, aren't they?
The BBC have been cutting corners for a while, seeing it's on Channel 4.
It's also on Channel 4. I didn't see anything. I was watching it on the radio.
There's just some lady planting some trees. And just round balls, apparently.
It's a cracking pit stop. 6 hours 12 to dig up a great oak. Smashing stuff. Bottas, a bit of fuel saving at the end, brought the gap down to about 6 seconds, but he had it in hand, really, didn't he? Ricciardo, fastest lap after fastest lap, but just no consistency at all. He said it was like driving that car on a knife edge this weekend. And he also had a little spin to boot under the virtual safety car, which was very unlike Ricciardo. Not having a great weekend. Yeah, it wasn't shown.
Oh.
Sky dug it up about an hour into the after show race. They finally found it. But it was at the very narrow left-hander before the right-hander towards the end of the track. That's helpful for people.
Oh.
But yeah, he just span it around under the virtual safety car, and he lost about 10-12 seconds. So yeah, that's where most of that time went, but he was also very inconsistent. But fastest lap after fastest lap. So yeah, Hamilton, we'll start with then at the end of the race. Utterly dominant. Probably the best we've seen him for a long time, would you agree?
Hamilton?
Yeah, are you wearing like a fucking igloo suit tonight or something?
You got goggles on or something. I was just making sure.
Oh, no, goggles wouldn't cover your ears. That doesn't really make any
just
difference.
making sure I didn't get it wrong. Well, he was, ridiculously fast compared to everyone else. He was on another plane, wasn't he? But I think that's what he said. He said he found pace that he was confident in again. So he found to get the car into a confident place where he could push. You know, throughout the season where maybe with these tyres or track, whatever, he didn't have the confidence to push the car. So in other words, he didn't have confidence in the car. Now he's found confidence in the car. He can push it again. So he's got his speed advantage back through talent pretty much. Before, because he couldn't exploit that bit of talent because of the little bit scary on the fast pedal. I don't think he was able to do that in the other track. So I think he just hit his sweet spot again. So it'd be interesting to see what happens when he go to another track that doesn't have these tyres that you've just spoken about. That is also kind of a bit like just a normal track, not a kind of monkey track like Monte Carlo or something like that. So what's the one after Monte Carlo? Where do we go? Is it
Canada? I think
Canada. Oh,
or it might be. I can't. The only red herring this year is France. I don't know where it slots in.
I think we go to Canada, and then we go back to France again.
Yeah, and then
why we don't go Monaco, France, Canada? I have no idea, but apparently that's the best and most efficient way to do it.
What, Monaco, Canada?
And then France, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where Monaco. I don't know where France goes in. We got Austria somewhere in there as well.
Sorry.
We got Austria somewhere in there as well. So I don't know how it is. So Monaco, Canada, France, Austria, UK, Germany.
So I guess the next place we'll see that's a real test, because I don't count Monaco as a real race, and that's just by the by. It's a parade. But you won't see a representation in Canada because, like you say, the tyres will be different. So it will be France, new track. So we'll see what happens there. That'll be the next test.
Yeah, I'm really
puts it together.
Really looking forward to that. The more I see the Paul Ricard circuit, I think it's going to be. It might not be the most exciting race, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see, and incredibly challenging for the drivers. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we'll find out for a little bit. Monaco is very likely to go the Bulls' way, but I'm sure we'll get onto that at the end of the podcast. Going through the order then, Bottas comes home second nicely. Verstappen bravely holds off Vettel somehow to get his first podium of the season. Improvement from Verstappen, you think? Definitely.
Tenfold. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's still
massive improvement.
Whether you think it's Stroll's fault or not, there was still a crash. So the timer resets on when did Max Verstappen last crash.com, which has started up this season.
Has it actually?
Yeah.
Oh god. It was an unavoidable tap due to a racing incident. No stupidity involved. I'm the first person to jump in and criticise Max, and I think that was just an incident and would have happened to anyone behind.
Aren't
Stroll
you just? You've been right on the attack of him this year, but yeah, I'd agree. He's definitely improved, and he's back on the right track. It's going to take a few more races, and his bogey circuit's coming up next. So
at the end, I was like, "Yay! He finished one!"
Yeah, without crashing. Oh wait. He's finished. It was only Baku he retired, wasn't it? He finished all the others, just crashed during it.
just crashed.
Yeah. Ricciardo very lonely fifth. Not a great weekend from him, but I think we can afford him one after his heroics in China. Kevin Magnussen, stunning. I mean, he wasn't just best of the rest; he demolished the rest. He was some 40 seconds off in the distance or something from Carlos Sainz. That's incredible. And that Haas has got some real pace in his hands. And I do really think, especially as this is the first year they're bringing updates to the car, I really do think they've got a good chance, if they maximise the next few races, of maybe going for that fourth spot ahead of Renault and McLaren. We'll have to see. Two Spaniards, 7th and 8th. Carlos Sainz beats out Alonso, mostly due to Alonso, but getting stuck behind Leclerc. We never really got to see anything apart from the turn 1 battle between them. But I'm sure they'll be happy on their home race. Probably the best they could achieve, considering much improved weekend from Carlos Sainz as well. Sergio Perez just squeaks another couple of points. Force India's still not looking great, but he's somehow managed it. And Charles Leclerc, unlucky in the end. I think he went a bit too far on the 2-stop. I think they had the pace to do a 1-stop. Was a bit slow on the 1-stop. I think they had the pace to do the 1-stop, the 2-stop this weekend. But still a point, which in that Sauber is stunning. He really is starting to live up to his hype. Yep.
Thank you.
What?
I said he'll absolutely smash Marcus this year.
Yeah.
And you were like, maybe not. Blah, blah, blah.
No, you're misunderstanding what we've already talked about. What you're saying is that Marcus Ericsson is shit. I've never said that Leclerc is not great. Leclerc is amazing, and I've been really excited about him. But I think you don't give Ericsson anywhere near enough credit.
No. Because he doesn't deserve any. Pay driver, hashtag.
Right, okay. We'll see by the end of the season. I think Leclerc is something very special, and he had a great race. to get points out of that. Stroll much improved in the Williams, mostly due to his start.
Improved Willie.
Much improved Willie. Yeah. Let's not use that phrase again. It's a bit weird. Yeah, he had a good race, to be fair. Showed much improved pace, just not quite enough to get any points on this occasion. Ericsson, a pretty good race as well. Sorokin was, I think he was the one that got caught out at the beginning that nearly hit everything, but didn't. I don't think that helped his race much. And Van Dorn retiring as well. We had a lot of retirements this time.
A whole swathe of retirements.
Yeah, so obviously the three that crashed out, Raikkonen retiring, Ocon retiring, and of course Van Dorn had an engine issue as well. And that rounds off the grid. So Hamilton now leads the championship pretty conclusively from Vettel, Bottas, Raikkonen, Ricciardo and Verstappen. I'd still say, though, all those guys are still in that hunt, potentially.
The top 4, 5 are still in the hunt.
You don't think Max, with his incredible second halves of the season that he's had the last couple of years, if he keeps himself in touch... I think it's a case of both the Red Bulls. The only way they'll do it is if they suddenly hit top form with the car. But I think if they do that, I think either of them could win it. Still.
It's a 2-horse race. To the end.
Ferrari and Mercedes.
Lewis and Sebastian.
Okay. Most likely. But you know how quickly these things can turn around.
No, of course.
So,
but it's a 2-horse race.
I mean, it's what it's been billed at, isn't it, all season?
Yeah.
This fight for 5, as they keep saying.
Fight for 5, gay.
Fight for 5 gays. What?
Fight for 5. Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay, let's stop there. Alonso still doing a fantastic job in 7th. Just 1 point off Verstappen.
Just want to point this out here.
Yeah.
Look at his team, mate.
Oh, Van Dorn is...
8 points. 8 points. Alonso, 32 points. Stoffel, 8. What's the chances of Stoffel being kicked out of that car next year?
Pretty high at the moment. Especially with
Lando.
What Norris is doing in F2.
Lando and Nando next year.
Yeah. I think it's quite possible.
8, Jamie. 8.
Yeah.
8. Fucking 8.
Okay. You keep saying this as though I've made like some kind of great claim for Van Dorn in the past.
No.
Yeah, I agree. He really needs to pick it up. He's
shit.
I think the fact he's got 8 is a credit to how much the McLaren's gone forward this year.
Charles Leclerc is beating him in a Sauber.
Because Leclerc is ungodly.
8, Jamie.
Right, got it. Let's move on. I hate it when you do this. You just continually repeat something. And it's funny. Yeah, he's repeating it. It's funny. And then it continues forever. So stop. I'm drawing a line under it. Hulkenberg losing touch on Alonso after his great start. Magnussen recovering with Haas up to 9th, and Carlos Sainz rounds out top 10. It means the constructors, Mercedes, start to build a bit of a gap to Ferrari. Red Bull will cover a little bit, just 1 point between Renault and McLaren. That's going to be some fight.
McLaren and Renault, a point apart. Who'd have thunk it? 8, Jamie.
God's sake.
That is why that is happening. And if Ron was in charge, he'd be gone already. Come back, Ron.
If Ron was in charge, Alonso would be gone already.
Don't leave us, Ron. No.
He's the one that was desperate to get Van Dorn in that car.
Ron.
Okay. Well, just stop, please. God's sake.
There's
right.
a guy gardening outside my house, and he had the lawnmower on, and it turned off when I shouted Ron.
His name's not Rod, is it, by any chance?
No, I think he heard me screaming Ron like I was an old person that's fallen.
Ron! Ron!
Stop it, Ron!
Ron! you shout something loud enough and frequently enough at someone, they will eventually respond to it. So yeah, let's move on to a bit of news, shall we?
Bit of news.
Bit of cheeky news. But first, it's time for
Crash of the Week, you bastards!
He got there this week. I think it's a little bit down on his season average for realising his point to do Crash of the Week, but
I got
it's definitely improvement on last year.
Still hefty prompt. Hefty prompt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still having to prompt you, which is the other thing.
What I don't tell you is, I don't actually choose Crash of the Week until you prompt me to choose Crash of the Week.
That's readily apparent. Hence the stalling now.
No, there's no stalling.
Raiders Crash of the Week is...
Crash of the Week is sponsored by Cream in a Can.
What is it? Oh, we gotta
If you
get the
like
sponsor
cream in a can, in a metal container that you can put in your pants, Cream in a Can. Yeah. Cream.
Okay, last week I'd said it'd gone a bit far. Now it's gone really perverse. Why are they putting it down their pants?
It's canned form, mate. You can take it wherever you like. Do whatever you like with it.
Yeah, but plenty of other stuff comes in cans. I've never put a can of Coke down my pants.
Well, if you ain't got any pockets.
I carry it. Put it down my pants.
Strap it, like, just in between your belt buckle and your pants. You'd have to hold it because you ain't got any pockets, so your pockets are full.
Right. So it's sort of half sticking out. That kind of seems okay. You meant just straight down the pants?
No, not straight down. It'd be a bit cold because it's from the chilled aisle.
Yeah, because that would be the problem with that. Right, what is your Crash of the Week?
I don't know, really.
There's only one contender, surely.
There is, really. But I think it's a boring crash. So my Crash of the Week goes to Lance Stroll at the end of Q3. Because it was pathetic.
What? Okay.
He spanned the car at the end of Q3.
Yeah.
Was it Q3? Was it Q3? Was it Q3 or was it Q2? It was Q2. Was it Q2?
I don't even remember Stroll almost had a crash in first practice.
That was it. There was a crash. Let's have a look.
Yeah. Not really what I'd call a Crash of the Week, mate.
Oh, whose part is Crash of the Week?
I mean, did he crash?
He crashed and he broke a camera.
Right.
Where was he? Stroll. Yeah, I reckon it's in Q1.
Great.
Let's Google it. Stroll Q1 crash Bass.
I mean, all you have to do is go on to the official Formula 1 thing.
Oh, yeah.
And go on qualifying highlights. Oh, I remember the one.
Yeah? Pathetic. So it's on the outside of, like, turn probably 12. No idea. No one crashes there. That's how gay it was.
I'm just watching this for clarification. He actually crashed.
He crashed.
Oh, that's not a crash.
That's crash the fucking...
He like kissed the barrier.
That's a crash.
Oh, for God's sake. I've got to overrule on this one.
No, that's Crash the Week, mate.
I mean, he ripped the barrier off, but only because he hit it at a certain angle. The car's fine. Like, I don't call it Crash of the Week where he can drive the car away.
Crash the fucking week, what?
Great. Well, my alternative Crash of the Week is going to go to Brendan Hartley.
What with the gearbox mishap?
With the big crash.
I didn't think it was that big.
No. It was tame in comparison to Stroll's kiss of the barrier.
Kiss of the barrier, Crash of the Week.
Great. Well, this is a section I'm becoming less and less loving of each week.
David, do you remember last week's Crash of the Week wasn't actually a crash?
Well, that is the trend. It's going to fast become cream of the can incident of the week mildly interesting thing that happened this week.
That's my aim, mate. That's my aim. Actually,
until you get to about 60 years old, and then it'll be Rage's
I'm gonna
rambling of the week.
I'm going to overrule. All right, this week's crash of the week wasn't even on Formula One. It was in the F2 that happened either before or after, and it involved. Jesus Christ, who did it involve?
I'm just gonna let you.
Who was it?
Let you attempt to find the words for this.
Nisei Fukuzumi.
Yeah.
Tatsuke Makino.
And also the first real proof that the Halo works.
That is my crash of the week, and it's not even F1.
Well, at least it was a crash. I'm happier with that than what you chose originally. I don't understand why you're. Like, I think it's quite a big debate between the two big crashes of the week, but we can't even have a debate because you haven't named either of them.
Nah, I think they're a bit predictable, bit tame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Moving
my crash
on.
of the week, mate.
Great. Moving on.
All right, carry on. News?
You're so close to forfeiting this section.
News?
I'm going to need a minute.
Got any news?
I'm going to need a minute.
Ah, okay. Got any news?
Just
bad guys.
fucking stop.
8th!
Ah!
Fucking 8th, Jamie!
News! Felipe Massa, Formula E.
Yes, I heard. Congratulations.
He said it on the grid, in Martin's grid walk. He had a little chat with him. And he's now announced a 3-year deal to race in Formula E with Venturi, who is the Leonardo DiCaprio team.
Great. Good job.
Be good to see. That grid's getting better and better. And we're going to have the proper cars next year. The big evolution of the Formula E cars. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on.
Gen 2, mate.
Yeah, man.
Roscoe be there, mate.
They look great. He's doing a test. Good sake. He owns one of the teams.
Nico will be there.
Moving on.
Any more news?
You've pushed your luck enough, okay, today. So it was confirmed at the weekend, I think, in an interview with the other guy that's not Chase Carey. I never remember his name. He's like the commercial manager of this new Liberty Media thing.
No idea.
They wanted to hold the 1000th Grand Prix, which is going to be this year, which is incredible when you think about it, at Silverstone as a mark of respect for the calendar, because we keep talking about whether Silverstone will be here past 2019. And that was going to be their sort of thank you to Silverstone and vote of confidence for it, but we turned around to him and said, nah mate, weather's going to be shit, don't want to do it. So instead of it being in April, it's at the normal time, and something else will be the 1000th Grand Prix instead.
It's true though, the weather will be crap, it'll be raining.
Oh, it's 2019 will be the 1000th race. Oh, that's not really noteworthy till next year now. Moving on.
This is the kind of news you expect from a Formula Fun podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
we need that as a buzz cue word that we just press the button and it says it.
What?
This is the kind of content you expect in the Formula Fun podcast.
And then it plays like 3 minutes of jingles and moves on. Yeah, maybe on April Fools. Lewis Hamilton on the verge of signing a new contract. Do you think he's going to be there next year?
Yes.
Do you think he'll sign beyond 2020?
No.
No. I don't think
he'll sign a year.
Want him.
He'll sign a year, maybe 2.
Yeah, I think Mercedes want 3, but
I think he'll sign 2. I don't think because he's in a position where he says that he doesn't care about championships, but all he wants is numbers. He wants the big one, mate.
Which number of championships also matter.
he wants to beat the big one. No doubt about it. They both do. Top 2, they want to beat the big one.
Which big one?
7.
Okay. I think I'm sure they would, but I'd arguably think the win tally would be more important to them. Beating Schumacher's 91. First man to 100, that would sound pretty sweet, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I guess 8 World Championships as well would. I don't think they're going to if they both stay in the sport, though. There's just not enough to go around. Nah, I don't know. It depends. I think with Hamilton, what would make sense is to stay till 2020. And
There's no way that he won't go through to the next set of cars.
Well, that's the thing. He has the opportunity to switch teams before the new set of regs and decide if it's a direction Formula One he wants to go.
Yeah,
if he signs to 2021, he's then signed in to having to go to the next Formula cars and do it with Mercedes, which he won't want. But that's what Mercedes want. They want him to be there when the new regs come out in case the car's shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure he will. We'll soon find out, because it'll be done in the next couple of months. We're at that period of time now where the signing gets done. Did you get any more signing news from other people at Mercedes?
Signing news.
Signing news.
No,
Sponsored by Kippers. The best kippers that you can buy. They're Jim Skippers.
Let Jim sign your kipper today. Whitgift Market Centre and Shopping Mall. 674 Kipper Alley, Octopus Lane.
P.O. Box.
Fucking help me out here.
Dying in a bowl of kippers.
I'm struggling. It's been a long day.
Did you have any more signing news?
No, I said, do you?
Yes, I do.
Great, go.
Wolff has claimed and confirmed that Danny Ricciardo is among a number of possible drivers who are they looking at to join for Mercedes for 2019.
What?
So it's been confirmed there from the top guy that they've approached.
What are you reading?
It
was confirmed that they're not looking beyond Bottas and Hamilton.
Wolff has confirmed that Daniel Ricciardo is among a number of possible drivers who could join Mercedes for 2019.
Well, he's completely U-turned on what he put
PlanetF1.com.
on what he put in stone 3 days ago, like just before the race.
Ricciardo is bracket quote definite option for Mercedes.
Wolff has also confirmed. Okay. Well, he confirmed before this weekend that Mercedes were not looking beyond Ocon, Bottas, and Hamilton. So I don't know how much I believe that. I think that's more.
Do you want to hear a bit more of the transcript?
That's more. No, because there's now 2 opposing statements. Therefore, there is no truth to either of them.
Earlier this season, it claimed that Wolff ruled out 6-time Grand Prix winner for the next season, but Wolff has denied this, saying it was not translated correctly. I only said that we were loyal first of all to our drivers, and they're Lewis and Bottas.
That's not what he meant.
And to Mercedes' young drivers, they come first.
He's backtracking because it puts Hamilton and Bottas in a position of power for contract negotiations. That's what he's doing.
Instead, he added, if we were to look at others, Daniel was definitely among them.
Yeah, they won't sign Daniel Ricciardo. No chance.
Ricciardo is out of contract with Red Bull at the end of the season, but Wolff has indicated that the team are happy with their current driving pair.
Yeah, I don't think they'll change, and I honestly don't think Ricciardo will end up at Ferrari either. I'm starting to think more and more that his only option is Red Bull for next year.
Big arrows point towards Leclerc for next year in Ferrari.
Yeah, it's very possible. If not, it'll be one more year for Kimi, then Leclerc.
Where was I? Where did I see this? Oh, and it's the best sauce. It is spicy. Tasty sauce.
Do you want some time
BBC
yourself?
F1 analyst Jolyon Palmer says.
That's all it needs.
Charles
Leclerc
Leclerc
done.
be promoted
We're
to
out of
Ferrari
it.
in 2019. We're going to put that in the box and we're going to throw it off a cliff.
Yeah, just like the rest of his career.
It's still early days, but if he keeps moving in this direction, there will be a big frame it will be in the frame for a big seat. That's like saying there's a chocolate bar in front of me. At some point in the next hour, it could be eaten.
Yeah, and my God, if they take these handcuffs off my hands, I will eat it because I've been starved for the last 18 years. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, really, isn't it?
Well, moving on from that, because that was a bit of crap news.
Yeah, so of course we've had a couple of days of testing. In Barcelona, it's the only in-season testing they're allowed, the teams.
Yes.
So I think the more interesting thing is who people test rather than the times, because there's not much to be said about times at this point of the season.
Before we go into the times, I did see a really cool bit of bodywork testing from Mercedes. I don't know if you noticed that as well.
I don't believe so.
Some rear rain lights on the end plates of the rear wing.
Oh, I'm looking at that now. I was wondering what all these pictures were of.
Yeah, cool, eh?
It does look quite cool.
I'm 100% down with that.
I question the need for it. I would like.
the thing, apart from the incredibly hard rooster tails.
You think those lights are going to show through that?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
They're useless for that purpose. I would say. I think they could be useful for seeing when drivers are harvesting more effectively by being higher up on the car and more in the driver's eye line. But they're also at the same level as the fucking halo. Like, I don't know that you can see them. I like them. I would like them as the similar idea as endurance racing, of them showing the leader or having special colours for certain positions. I think that would be quite cool. But it's interesting to see anyway. I bet you anything the aerodynamicists hate that. And they will not be on the car. But we'll see. Excuse me. No other real updates. I mean, if we're going to go for times, we saw Verstappen go to the top of the times, 17.5, but then you got Carlos Sainz second on the second 17.5. So, as I said, don't read too much into it. What I do read into generally is who the teams test, because it's their only in-season test. The biggest surprise of them all was young Jake Dennis at Red Bull. Now, I don't actually know who this guy is. He related to Ron Dennis?
No idea.
Jake Dennis. No, nothing to do with him. But a young Brit that I don't really know much about. He did the Formula 3 Championship last year. So, like a little bit of it. And he's actually doing the GT Masters and the Blancpain the Blancpain series. So, very interesting test from Red Bull, really. Of all the
Who was what was his name?
Jake Dennis. So he's a 22-year-old British driver. Has raced in GP3 before, but is not there this year. And he's actually doing GT racing at the moment.
Jake Dennis.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
Same. So
That's odd.
Yeah, very interesting. Not quite sure why Red Bull have gone for him.
There's plenty of deserving people in the lower formula that could have done that.
Yeah, you'd think. You wonder if they're just thinking outside the box a little bit. But
Do you think that was a little bit of a hurry up to Dan?
Daniel Ricciardo?
Yeah, it's like
No.
we got someone else in the sideline.
Well, then you bring in one of your actual junior drivers. You don't bring in a complete unknown.
Jake Dennis, mate.
Jake Dennis, man. Remember Danny Rick shitting it, mate.
Jake Dennis, mate. Got to be careful,
Not
mate.
the honey badger anymore.
You got Jake Dennis. Jake.
The
Dennis.
Jake Dennis.
Jakey D is in the sidelines, son.
Of such comments as he was also a driver that was in Formula 3 this year. Yeah, Renault go
Jake
with
Dennis.
of all people. Giovinazzi testing at Ferrari, not surprising. Jack Aitken at Renault, Norris at McLaren, again not surprising. Was surprised they didn't. There wasn't a Russell test for Mercedes, but he was on track with the Force India Pirelli tyre test, which I think is a couple of days afterwards. Similarly, Lando Norris and Oliver Turvey will do the McLaren Pirelli tyre test. They're the two teams that are doing the extra couple of days. Plenty of time for Stoffel in the car as well, which I thought quite interesting. Haas, we don't know who did today. Don't really care. Force India, Latifi and Mazepin.
Dennis.
I know, it's crazy. Sean Galil for Toro Rosso. Giovinazzi getting 2 days of testing, one with Ferrari, one with Sauber.
Okay. Do you reckon he's got a couple of suits that he just has to choose from?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got the red one today. Oh, back to the blue one. Oh, it's white now. Oh, back to the white one.
Ferrari are so insanely desperate to get an Italian in their car.
I know.
I just don't think Giovinazzi is good enough.
That's so funny, isn't it? Oh, we have to have an Italian in the car. Otherwise, the Red Bull, the Red Prancing Horse, the Vos, the pizza, mama, Italian.
Perfect. And then...
Power, Italian, Jake Dennis.
And then...
8! Dennis.
Jake Dennis. Milk, shaken, not stirred. And Kubica in the other day for the Williams. I'm just padding out time here because I haven't bothered to do topics. And we're nearly out of news. Alonso said the new McLaren was all right.
Alonso, says what people wanted to hear.
Do you want to do
I'm still surprised
10 minutes on that rain light?
Nah.
Sorry, go on. What did you say?
I'm surprised he just come out and say it's shit. The car's shit, boys. Been shit for a while, and it's still shit.
I mean, it's a definite improvement.
Yeah, I guess. But did you look at their? This is the worst points finish of the year.
What, McLaren?
Yeah, for Alonso, this day was the worst points finish of the year so far.
Well,
he finished 8th.
Yeah, but I feel
everywhere else he's finished like 5th and stuff like that. 5th, 6th.
I feel that's a bit warped. Like, I mean, qualifying it's the first top 10 qualifying, isn't it?
It is the first top 10 qualifying, but yes.
But that car's definitely improved massively. But it's going to be nowhere near enough to get near the top teams. Be interesting to see how they do in Monaco, I think. And talking of that, let's wrap up the podcast and look forward to no.
Jack Aitken. I mean Dennis.
Jake
Dennis.
Lando Giovinazzi. You have to bear with me a second because I need to log in, but it is the Fantasy League, which I nearly forgot. Of course, this was the second weekend. You had the lead last week.
I did.
After the first round. And I believe I've still got it. There he is, Canned Cream Creatures, still leading the way by 8 points. By who the hell are Papaya Orange Formula 1 team? Connor, who are you and why have you suddenly joined our league?
Where is he?
He's second.
Ah.
He's put Fox down into third.
Oh no.
That's poor Fox.
It's almost surprising it's Jake Dennis.
God's sake. It's not going to become a meme. Stop it. Greg in P3. P4 now, actually, because Papaya Orange down. TKM Sport. Adam is in P5. Sawyer, I think that is... Oh, no, I don't... I thought I knew who that was. Jeremy in 6th. Or joint 5th, actually. TKM, myself, and Sawyer are all in joint 5th. So, yeah. We both tactically went for the same teams this week.
We did. Kept it the same. Why did you keep yours the same?
Tactics.
Did you?
Yeah.
Were they really, slightly lazy, kind of forgot
really
tactics?
Really thought this one out. No.
No, it definitely wasn't forgot to change them tactics.
It did so happen, though, after my days and days of poring over spreadsheets on this one.
Yes.
And going through the record book. books, and of course consulting the mystical F1 gurus, Sir Sterling Moss and Jackie Stewart, who sit in a tent advising on these things on Ealing Common weekly, drinking John Smiths. Christ, I'm getting really bad at this shit. It was very similar to the team before. Some would even say identical.
What was it? It's a surprise.
The team,
Yes.
the very different team to the last one,
Yes.
was Alonso,
Yes.
turbo driver.
Hmm.
Hulkenberg, who lost me 14 points, the bastard.
Cash.
He lost me last time 8 points. He's now lost me a net 22 points. Disowned. Ricciardo got me 26, Vettel 27, Magnussen 23, and Red Bull 50. So I got a total of 144, which is a bit of an improvement from last time. And you got exactly the same team as well.
Yes.
It's the skillful way to do it.
I definitely didn't forget.
No. So you're similar. You lost a few points with Gasly. Did well with Leclerc, Ricciardo, Alonso, Hamilton, and Red Bull. Some good points there. It'd be cool if we could see if it showed you like the top point scorer of the week, rather than having to go through them all. But I'm not going to go through them all because we've now got 18 people in this league, which is pretty good. I hope you guys are enjoying it anyway, and we'll see how we go for Monaco. So not necessarily a fantasy team, because as we know, our fantasy teams are always different from what we're about to do, which is our predictions for Monaco. 1, 2, 3. Foxworth is now keeping a table, which is even updated. I got 2 right last time. 2 spot on, which I haven't done all season.
So first, second, and third.
First, second, and third. I'll go first, shall we?
Go on. No, I'll go first. Hold the horses.
Okay.
Dan Ricciardo, P1. Lewis Hamilton, P2. Max Verstappen, P3.
P1, Sebastian Vettel.
Oh.
P2, Daniel Ricciardo. P3, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh,
Boom. Boom.
Boom. Boom.
Boom.
Shake the
room.
Jake Dennis.
Shake, Jake Dennis. Boom, shake, Dennis. Dick, Dennis.
Sit, Dennis.
This has been horrible. Possibly the worst one we've ever done. I'll let you guys decide that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, it's been a fun podcast. At some point, I'll bring the topics back, but we're going to need a lot more preparation than we've had the last few races. Do go and join the Fantasy League if you haven't already. It is perfectly possible for someone still to win joining at this point, I'm sure. And we will be hopefully getting a shirt designed and out to you guys on the podcast sometime in the next 7 or 8 races, which we'll give out as a prize for it. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and the race. Obviously, keep your opinions coming in the comments section, and we can discuss past the podcast what you guys thought of the race this week. And any closing thoughts, Rach?
Really don't like the next race.
Dennis.
No, come on. Let's be mature now. So, let's give the people what they want, and that's real content. Okay.
Well, we've blown most of that today.
Jake Dennis.
Dennis. Monaco. I mean, it'll be a spectacle as per always, but it's the race.
Spectacle or a parade?
Well, parades are a spectacle.
Pussy parade is what I'm going to call it from now on.
Okay. You were the one that controversially said in one of our late podcasts last year that Monaco should be taken off the F1 calendar. And for that, I nearly fired you from this podcast.
Well,
best qualifying of the year, surely.
Good, yeah. Qualifying, great. Race, absolutely diabolical.
We've had some great races the last few years.
Maybe there's news of that they're actually going to change the track layout because of something to do with land.
I really didn't know what you were going to say there.
So,
This was you. It could have been
with
anything.
An ostrich in some striped pajama pants.
Something to do with 2 Irishmen drunk on a boat.
Exactly. Eddie, and Jake fucking
Dennis. I'm thinking more the 2 Eddies, but you know. Yeah, sure. Jake Dennis as well is inexplicably there. Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be it's an interesting race if nothing else, and I really enjoy it, even if I nearly fall asleep every time in the Monaco race. But,
more F1 fucking news before we finish.
No.
FIA explains why Ferrari's halo mirrors will be banned from the next race. Did you see the halo mirrors?
Yes, I missed them.
Yes, they're going to be banned.
I know.
That's it. See you later.
They were told that they were going to be banned before the weekend.
They're banned now.
Yeah.
You know why?
Because they put the little aerodynamic flaps on them.
Because of Jake Dennis.
Oh, what a prick that guy is. He gets everywhere. Crash of the week, Jake Dennis. And on that note, folks, we're out of here.
See you later. Fucking 8 points, Jamie.